It's a jam-packed Week 13 show as we construct full lineups on both FanDuel and DraftKings. We'll also be announcing 3 viewer contest winners as we dole out $300 in cash prizes. We'll cover all of it, plus a little NFL Survivor, coming up next. Hello, this is Eric Lee with the Fantasy Football Consultants. Michael's out sick this week. He should be back next week. So you just got me, and we've got a ton of content. We will get to FanDuel and DraftKings lineups for Week 13 in just a minute. As always, you can use the timestamps to go to the section you are most interested in listening to. But we need to start by doling out some cash. We have a bunch of contests, up to $300 actually we're paying out this week. We need to announce the winners. Let's start with NFL Survivor. NFL Survivor, congratulations to Michael Kramer, Paul Garrick, Jeff Satterfield, and Matt Fangenbaum, who all did a great run. 11 straight weeks of picking NFL Survivor winners, but due to Dallas and Philadelphia letting them down, they are all eliminated. And the sole survivor is Sean Adams. Congratulations to Sean Adams. We also had 2 other contests. First, DraftKings, and I was all ready to buy that crown and come in and say I am the Draft King because I won the first week of the DraftKings contest. But no, Apples barrely nudged me out. I finished second. Apples, you are the winner, finishing first. I am not going to demand a recount. So congratulations to you, Apples, and your A+ performance. On FanDuel, it goes to longtime viewer Rocky Patel, who edged out another longtime supporter of our channel, Brian Taylor. So Rocky and Apples, we won't pay you out now. We'll wait at the end of the 4 weeks. Maybe you'll pull out another victory. So what we're going to do is we did it for week 12. First place gets $50. Guess what? We're going to do it for week 13. We're going to do it for week 14 and week 15, as we have 6 more chances to win $50 by finishing first. If you're like, hey, I want in on this, well, where were you all year? We really are trying to reward people who contributed multiple weeks. So I'll tell you what, we probably only have maybe 1 or 2 slots, which I can give because I still want to keep it small to keep people's chances good and rewarding those that have participated all week. But if you go into this video with your DraftKings or FanDuel username with your best takes with reasons supported, and do it next week as well, very early in the week, right when the video comes out, you'll want to be subscribed and hit the bell icon so you know exactly when when it comes out. Then we will add about 2 more people to these contests for the last 2 weeks. A quick word about NFL Survivor. So we announced last week we're not going to cover that on the show any longer. However, if you're still alive in your NFL Survivor pool, congratulations. And we want to be any help that we can be, us in our FFC community. So go into the comment section and basically tell us what players, teams that you still have left that you're trying to consider and for the given week, and we'll give you our take. But I got to tell you, if you made it this far, go with your gut. You've done a lot better than a whole lot of us, including Michael and me. So congratulations. All right, folks, let's get right into the studio and go over first FanDuel, and then we'll hit DraftKings. All right, here we are on week 13 FanDuel main slate. And man, we have 2 picks that look tailor-made, as in Jonathan Taylor and Joe Mixon. But FanDuel has done a great job of pricing these guys up. So even though they've been very hot in excellent matchups, I think we're better off going down to Alexander Madison, where we save $700 on Mixon and $1,800 on Jonathan Taylor. Look, Dalvin Cook is out, and he draws a fantastic matchup against the Detroit Lions. How do I know whether Alexander Madison will do well against the Lions? Because he already did, and the game with Dalvin Cook was also out back on October 10th. He got 25 carries, 25 of the 26 running back carries for that game. And look how heavily he got involved in the passing game. So without even scoring a touchdown, he was a complete smash. So we will definitely take advantage of that and expect really at least that if he can get into the end zone. All right, so who do we pair Alexander Madison with? Well, let me ask you guys a question. If I told you that I could give you a running back who in the last 3 weeks has averaged 27 touches and he faces a below average rush defense, how much would you pay? $9,000, $8,500, $8,000, $7,000, $6,500? I feel like one of those Ginzu knife commercials. What wait for the low price of $6,200? The disrespect that FanDuel is giving Antonio Gibson is absolutely amazing. He faces the 25th ranked rush defense, and look what he's done in the last 3 weeks. Now, in FanDuel's defense, he got 36 touches last week against Seattle when they played on Monday night. So I have no doubt that since the pricing was before Monday night, that if this game was done on the main slate on Sunday, his price would at least be $300, $400, $500 more. So we'll take advantage of that. I mean, the only reason he didn't have a great game is J.D. McKissick snaked not one, but 2 rushing touchdowns. I don't think that is typical. So for the low price of $6,200, happy to get Antonio Gibson in our lineup. We'll watch the news. Obviously, if there is a concern, we will pivot away. All right, so how about wide receiver? Let's go with Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson, likewise, has been someone who has been great at getting targets this year. He has clearly been Roethlisberger's favorite target. And if you want to complain about Deontay Johnson, complain about the fact that he hasn't been getting in the end zone. But that can be tied to this Pittsburgh Steelers offense that has struggled to get in the end zone. But he faces a Baltimore Ravens defense that is dead last in the NFL against the pass. So if there's ever a time where we can hopefully tack on, we know he's going to get the volume, but hopefully tack on a touchdown, this would be the week. So at 7,200, let's get Deontay Johnson. And this is going to be a general theme, a target hog in a great matchup at a reasonable price. Well, we can say the exact same thing with Keenan Allen at $7,500. All right, who do we want to join Johnson and Allen in our backfield? A worthy guy, we can get him at a really good price at only $6,400. Give me Hunter Renfrow. Again, it's the same thing. A number 1 wide receiver going against a suspect pass defense. Really suspect, 30th in the NFL. Ever since Henry Ruggs went out, this has been a guy who's really established himself as a key target. And I always would have to caveat saying he's the number 1 wide receiver target. I won't take the leap of faith and say he's a bigger target than Darren Waller. Well, this week I will. He is definitely a bigger target than Darren Waller because Waller's out. So I think Hunter Renfrow will be one of the beneficiaries. Another one of the beneficiaries at only $5,000 for Darren Waller to be out is, let's go scroll all the way down to Foster Moreau. So again, he's facing that same Washington team that struggled against the pass. So every game this year, Darren Waller has played, except one. It was against Philadelphia, and that's when Foster played. And Foster had a very nice game for himself in stepping in, 6 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown. I see no reason why he can't come close to duplicating that effort, maybe not with the touchdown. And he pays off at only $5,000. So let's get him in the lineup. All right. So kind of take stock of where we are. And at the flex, I do want to spend some money. And again, I am looking for a back who I think is in a good situation, who I expect to be the bell cow. Ding, ding, ding. If you're looking for a bell cow, look no further this week at $7,600. Give me Elijah Mitchell. So how about back-to-back weeks of 27 carries? Can't ask more than that. And it's going to get even rosier for him this week. Why? Because Deebo Samuels is likely going to be out. You go, he's a wide receiver. Why does that matter? No, we've been telling you guys for multiple weeks how the Niners love using Deebo Samuels out of the backfield for some carries. Last 3 weeks, this is what Samuels has done. He has gotten 19 carries for 181 yards and 4 touchdowns. All that's going to be on the bench. More opportunities for Elijah Mitchell. And it pains me to say this, but he faces a Seattle Seahawks defense that I am not going to say, you look at the stats and go, oh my gosh, the total defense is last in the NFL. They're a terrible defense. Well, you know what? They're not a terrible defense, but they're a defense you can take advantage of because their offense, they being Seattle, has so struggled. They continually turn the ball over, either on downs where they had like 5 straight 3-and-outs this past week, where you're putting the Seahawks defense on the field for long periods of time. And it makes them very susceptible to being exposed, which is why the guy we just talked about, Antonio Gibson, he had 36 touches last week. So Elijah Mitchell, man, he could be in for a very busy workday against these same Seattle Seahawks. All right, so let's get Mitchell in there. All right, let's take a stock where we are. $11,600 and a defense. So we can get a pretty good defense and pay down at QB. We're not going to do that. That's not our style. So let's get the best QB in the land, Lamar Jackson. We all know he didn't play like the best QB in the land last week. He really struggled. 4 interceptions, but is amazing despite having the absolute worst possible game you can imagine throwing the ball. 1 touchdown, 165 yards, and 4 interceptions. You know what? Because of his rushing floor, it wasn't a good game by any means, but it wasn't an absolute garbage game. This is about the lowest floor you can imagine him out. He's going to bounce back against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who's a defense. I expect this game to be high scoring. So let's get Lamar Jackson back in our lineup. And we have a whopping $3,100. Let's look. This leaves us with a whopping 2 choices at defense. So look, folks, I'm not going to sit here and insult your intelligence by saying that I'm excited about either the Jacksonville Jaguars or the Lions. But this is a punt play to get the other players that we have in our lineup that we feel so good about. And defense is extremely volatile. So look, I'm not picking the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are 13-point dogs on the road. So give me the Detroit Lions, who can be pesky and tough. They haven't got a win yet, but they're at home, and they've been in a lot of games this year. And the Minnesota Vikings are without their best player in Dalvin Cook. I know that I have Alexander Mattison in the lineup. That's okay. This is cash game. I can have the running back against a defense. Obviously, if that really bothers you, obviously switch out your defense. And if you want, switch out one of my other players and you can probably get any defense that you want. But this is the cash lineup. Let's go to GPP. All right, here's our GPP lineup, and it always starts with the stack because we always want to get that high ceiling in GPP play. Folks, we either wanted to attack the Atlanta-Tampa Bay game or the Cincinnati Charger game. They are the two highest scoring games on the slate, both at 50.5. But I like the Chargers-Cincinnati game more for stacking since I'm going to run it back with another player, because they're only a 3-point spread versus the other game may get completely out of hand with the Bucks as a 10.5-point favorite. So I'm going to take Joe Burrow and run that with Jamar Chase and run that back with Keenan Allen. Now, I know that there's a little bit of a concern here because, the Chargers, usually you attack the Chargers in the ground. But from a game script perspective, if the Chargers, who are at home, can get up on the Bengals, the Bengals may have no choice to put the ball in the air. And they got a lot of weapons in addition to Jamar Chase. T. Higgins has been playing really well. And Joe Mixon is very strong out of the backfield catching passes. So give me Burrow and Chase and Allen. I really, for looking at a ceiling, and I know he was expensive, and you can certainly adjust this lineup if you want to pay down off Jonathan Taylor. But we've seen that Jonathan Taylor has the ability to go completely off, and he gets a dream matchup against the second worst rush defense in Houston. They're monster favorites. This could really be a high ceiling game. So I'm going to pay the absorbent $10,500 price. I already said why I like Antonio Gibson. And Josh at $5,100 for a guy who looks like he's becoming the number one wide receiver on the Detroit Lions. Now, that's not saying much, I know, but a Detroit Lions team that is going to likely have to throw the ball against Minnesota. And by the way, the Lions don't have DeAndre Swift, so they really are likely going to have to throw the ball. So Reynolds, who had a nice game on Thanksgiving, comes with a little extra rest into this game. And at 5,100 in GPP, where we're kind of taking a high upside approach, I think Josh Reynolds is someone I like this week for GPP. We already talked about Moreau and Eli Mitchell. We're left with the Washington football team defense. So I'm doing a little bit of a small stack here with Antonio Gibson and the Washington football team. So I didn't say this for cash. There's a danger about playing. As much as I love Antonio Gibson, there's a danger here. If you think that the Raiders are going to blow Washington out, this could be a really bad game for Antonio Gibson. Why? Because you'll see a lot more of J.D. McKissick. But the spread does not show that. The spread is only about 3. So they're expecting a very close game. So, and if Washington can get up, we could really have a big payoff between Washington's running back in Gibson and Washington's defense, which really does have a good front four. So that's my GPP lineup. Let's go to DraftKings. All right, if you're looking on the screen, you see my full cash lineup for DraftKings. Let's go through it. I just talked about Joe Burrow, and at 6,300. Now, I really wanted to get up to Justin Herbert, who's 6,700. So I am going to look for bargains through the week, and if possible, I'd like to go up. In general, Joe Burrow gives you a great floor. I just have a little bit of a concern because if this becomes a Joe Mixon running attack because the Chargers are so poor against the run, then I'm a little worried about Joe Burrow's floor. But when I look at the other options around his price, I do like Joe Burrow. I also was considering Heineke at $5,600 at $700 savings, but I had the money to go up to Burrow, so that's what I did. Jamal Williams is at home, and he faces a Minnesota defense that is below average. And this Detroit Lions team does not have DeAndre Swift. So you're going to probably look for a heavy workload of Jamal Williams, similar to last week. And without DeAndre Swift, I expect Williams to get involved in the passing game as well, which is so important on DraftKings. He's a goal line back. He's all these wonderful things for only $5,400. So who are we going to pair Jamal Williams with? How about Elijah Mitchell? When you say bell cow, you can't beat 27 carries 2 weeks in a row. And I think it's only going to get better with Deebo Samuel out. And if you aren't in the know, so Deebo Samuels, again, listed as doubtful. So he is doubtful that he is going to play. But look what Deebo Samuel has done in the last 3 weeks on the ground. Amazing. 4 touchdowns, 181 yards, and 19 carries. So with Deebo Samuel out, who was lining up in the backfield, I think you're going to see a situation where Mitchell is going to be relied on even more. Now, we're going to talk about how great Antonio Gibson was last week. And the reason why Gibson had 36 touches against the Seattle Seahawks was the Seattle Seahawks offense has just been so poor in the last really 6-7 weeks without Russell Wilson, and with Russell Wilson coming back. Puts a lot of pressure on that defense, and that's who Mitchell is facing against the Seattle Seahawks. And I think that he can take advantage. The 49ers are, I believe, a 3.5-point favorite, even though this game is at Seattle. So Deontay Johnson is someone we're super high on. We are always high on him because of what his role in this offense is and his wonderful matchup facing the Ravens and their league worst passing defense. Hunter Renfrow is someone also that we talked about in the FanDuel section. He is someone who I believe has really blossomed with Henry Ruggs out, and now with Darren Waller out, he's going to be relied on even more against a Washington pass defense that's not great. And since Hunter Renfrow lines up in the slot, it becomes even harder to kind of double team and take him completely away from the offense. So I still think Hunter Renfrow has an excellent chance to pay off at a very reasonable $5,800 price on DraftKings. So by spending down on Jamal Williams, spending down on Hunter Renfrow, and spending down at tight end provides us to go crazy and spend up on Cooper Kupp. So my first reaction about Cooper Kupp, $9,000, saying, wait a minute, too expensive, can't do it. But when you actually think and reflect on what Cooper Kupp has done, he provides an unbelievable floor on DraftKings because of the full point per reception and the fact that he gets 11, 11, 7, 10, 9, 7, 5, 9, 9, 7 amount of receptions each week. I mean, you would be happy with targets, but of receptions each week, you can just look at what he's done in fantasy points is providing you an unbelievable floor as well as a very good ceiling. And if you have a hard time with that $9,000 price, that was actually down from $9,300 and $9,600 the previous week. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with his matchup going against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who do not have anybody in the secondary that is going to be able to stop Cooper Kupp. So we said that we paid down at tight end, and it's just a very simple scenario, folks. Darren Waller is out. Darren Waller has played every game this year except one. Guess which one? Against Philadelphia. And that's when Foster Moreau has had a full slate as the starter. And look what he did with it. 6 receptions for 60 yards and a touchdown. At this dirt cheap price, and especially against a poor Washington pass defense. And without Ruggs and without Waller, like we said, I think it's I can't pass up this price given what it allows us to do elsewhere. And then finally, we've going at defense with the Detroit Lions. It's a punt play. We did the same thing on FanDuel, but we think the fact that the Lions are at home, the Lions have been competitive in a lot of games, and they're facing a Minnesota team that is without their star running back, Dalvin Cook, and with a quarterback, Kirk Cousins, that can make some questionable decisions. So as a punt play, we don't hate this. And the Lions defense has actually done a good job over the last 3 weeks, holding teams to 16, 13, and 16 points. So that's our cash game lineup. I'll put on the screen right now 2 videos that relate to NFL DFS. We really hope you check it out. It'll make you be a better NFL DFS player. Until we see you next week, hopefully with Michael, take care, and we'll see you next time.